Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Tonight, we're going to have John from Cycle Fanatix coming onto the stream, and we're going to talk all about performance baggers. Right now, he's in the middle of building a 2022 Road Glide named Mad Max. Can't wait to dive down into that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in John.
What's up, everyone? What's up, Joe?
Not too much. How you doing today, John?
Good, buddy.
Good. We're going to go ahead and just dive in. We have some time left over. We'll open up for Q&A. First off, John, why don't you just, for the people that don't know you, tell us a little about yourself and your YouTube channel.
So I got a YouTube channel. We pretty much do all Harley-Davidson content. It started off with my street glide a couple years ago. Then it went to a road glide, then to another road glide, which was Silverback, which everybody grew to love. And now we got a dismantled Mad Max. Yeah, so we do we do the build videos on the main bike on the channel, and primarily just do ride videos all over the country, stuff like that, and all year long.
Okay. All right. So it looks like Mad Max a little dismantled back there. So what are you doing to that?
Yeah, so we're this is a 22 Road Glide standard, and that we just got just a couple months ago. We did the Kraus T-bar setup. We did +2 suspension front and back. We Santoro Fabworks crash bar, all Zero 3D lighting, Saddleman seat. We got a Evolution Industries clutch. We have Arlen Ness mid controls on it. What else? We got GP from cartridges on it. We have Legend suspension in the back. We got the Clockworks windshield. We run the Memphis Shades handguards, Flow Motorsport levers. And in this engine, I want to keep it mild for now. So it's basically your standard 107 stage 2 SNS 475 cam, and the bad, you know what? Chromeworks 2-into-1 outlaw exhaust.
Yes, sir.
Too bad I didn't have it together. Otherwise I'd start it up for everyone.
Hey, I saw one of your past videos where you did already start it up without those pipes on there.
I did, yeah. But it's a little loud. Everybody said your neighbors must hate you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I can only imagine.
Yeah. So now what happened was the front seals were leaking. Front seals were leaking on the suspension. I don't know why. So we're gonna dive into that and see what happened. But front seals we're gonna replace. So while I had all that apart, I said, you know what? We got to powder coat the wheels. So that's where the wheels are now, getting powder coated in a super chrome. That's the name of the color. It's a color by Prismatic Powders, and basically you choose the color on their website, and you take your wheels to a local powder coating shop. You tell them the color from Prismatic Powders website, and they basically powder coat your wheels. Also having the pulley powder coated gloss black, because it was like that crinkle finish, you can never get that clean.
Oh, I was just going to ask you real quick. So by getting your wheel powder coated, is that a little cheaper than buying like a chrome wheel or a black wheel?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I'm going to tell people once I have the wheel exactly like how much it costs compared to, say, a new chrome wheel. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cost it's a fraction of the cost. So, for people that are, working with a smaller budget, the powder coating option is definitely the way to go. And it's a really durable finish.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I wish you would have put that out before I got my chrome wheel, because man, I paid through the nose for that thing.
Right. Well, I could give you and your viewers kind of a ballpark. So the ballpark is somewhere around $200 per wheel.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's it. Wow. So if you have to, like say for instance, my buddy, you bring him the wheel, I'll have all the information in a future video. But if you bring him the wheel, he's going to charge people like $250, but that's because he's got to remove the bearings, he's got to press the bearings out, and then press the bearings back in. So I believe there's a total of 8 bearings, something like that. So, so that's where that extra 50, but still, it's still a fraction of the cost, of these really expensive wheels. Because wheels, you're talking $2,000 per wheel.
Yep.
And then if you go to carbon fiber wheel, you're talking anywhere possibly close to $3,000 per wheel.
Right.
But I can't really compare carbon wheel because you are getting an absolute performance monster. If it's carbon, it's a lot less weight. But if you're going to go with a new wheel or a brand new chrome wheel, the powder coating is the way to go.
Right. Yeah. So we'll dive down a little bit deeper into everything that you're doing with that. But let's go ahead and move on to question number 2. So what got you into riding motorcycles, and how long have you been riding?
Well, I'm 50. I'll be 51 this year, and I've been riding since I was probably 15, 16. Started off dirt bikes, obviously, but my first passion was sport bikes when I was 17. So I had a bunch of sport bikes, bunch of leader bikes, and then probably back in like 2000 started riding Harley Davidsons. I believe it was like a Road King, my first Harley Davidson. So I've been riding Harley Davidsons for about 23 years, 24 years. But anything 2 wheels, I'll ride it.
Right. So what led you into being interested in motorcycles? With someone in your family, or?
Well, no, not really. No, you know what it is. It's like when you're a kid, like what do you play with, right? So I was the type of kid always with Matchbox, or always with like the Evel Knievel bike. You know what I mean? Playing in the dirt with Matchbox or RC cars. You already kind of know what you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was heavily into sports, athletics as well, but anything with the engine. So I can't only say it was really only motorcycles. It was basically, if it starts and it has an exhaust and it sounds good, you love it. Whether it's a car or a motorcycle, what have you. Like even car racing, I've been to every kind of car racing except for Formula One.
Okay.
I've been to them all. I just love it. Even motorcycle racing. So I just anything with an engine. But the 2 wheels, my 2-wheel passion is much greater than the 4-wheel passion.
Right. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the motorcycle racing. I know I'd love to go out and see that. What's the bagger racing? I can't remember.
King of the Baggers.
Yeah, I'd love to go and see that. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So now let's move into question number 3. So I was doing a little bit of research on your channel, and it looked like one of your first videos was on a sports bike, but then you ended up releasing a video a couple days ago showing the history of all the bikes that you've had, what you've been riding, which I didn't know that you had all those bikes before. But what got you to move from sport bikes over to Harley Davidson?
I'm not sure. I guess when you get older, you get married, you start having kids, you kind of want to slow things down. Maybe that's a possibility, always, like I said, all kinds of motorcycles, but obviously you can't beat the sound of a Harley. But the passion never left. I have a passion for all things 2 wheels, but you know how you still get that urge for something, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but I had a lot of other. I deleted a lot of videos. Believe it or not, I probably deleted 6 million views worth of videos.
Wow, holy cow, man.
Yeah. Because it's like, because we started, you could see the things were going good with the Harley Davidson content. So that's kind of why I removed them. But now in retrospect, I shouldn't have.
Right. Yeah. In that last video you put out, you do all sorts of different riding. You've been on the track. You ride dirt bikes down in the woods. I saw the one of you guys going around in the mud, flinging mud at Sandy.
That's right.
So what's your favorite kind of riding? Do you like, if you had to pick one, would you rather be out in the woods on a dirt bike or just cruising down the road or on the track?
That's tough. That's a really good question. I don't know if I could give you an answer, to be honest with you, because there's nothing like riding a dirt bike in a in the middle of an open field. Nothing like it, right?
Mhm.
But then if you're on a sports bike on the track, that's just something extraordinary to experience, because of the way the bike handles and the speeds you can achieve. You really figure out what the motorcycle is capable of. But then when you get on a Harley and you listen to that beautiful thump of that M8 engine, and you're on the highway for a long stretch, just chilling on the bike, I really don't know. It's tough, or even like an ADV bike. It's really tough. I couldn't really give you an answer which one is my absolute favorite. I love it all.
Right. Yeah. I know Harley Davidson took you and Robert Simmons and a bunch of other YouTubers out there to ride on the
It's
trip.
Arizona. Yeah, right,
I
right,
was I was watching that. I was so jealous of that. That had to have been one of the
right,
coolest experiences ever.
right.
So now back at home, do you ever take your bike out to the track, or do you have a track?
Well, right now I only have this bike. So I wouldn't take a Harley to the track. Even though Harley Davidson obviously took us there. You can, but it's nothing like having a sport bike on a track, or a supermoto, something like that,
Okay.
You're really limited with a Harley Davidson.
Right, with your lean angle and whatnot, can't really.
Yeah, unless you have Kyle Wyman's
Yeah.
King of the Baggers bike. If you have that bike, you could definitely do something with it. But his bike, I think they're like at 500, upper 500 pound range. It's an amazing machine. Yeah,
Yeah.
170 horsepower. That's something you could lean into.
Great, exactly. We'll go ahead and move into question number 4. So, what inspired you to start building these performance baggers? Because I know you did Silverback, you completed that, and now you're moving on to Mad Max.
Well, it's like I think like one of the first Harley Davidson videos I did when I still had my Street Glide Special. And me and my buddy went to South Carolina, and I recorded that whole trip and stuff, and got over like 100, 200,000 views, and I seen people were interested in it. That's kind of how it started, and then from that bike, I went to the next bike, which was a road glide. And then, obviously you can't take, or me at that time, I should say, I couldn't take a lot of those long distance trips because I was busy, obviously, with my day job. So, what do? You start building the bike, you start upgrading the
Right.
bike, you start doing this, you start doing that. And that's how it started, but once obviously, you get a little bigger, your audience grows, and kind of the sponsors start showing up and helping you out. And then the project gets bigger and better.
Right.
So that's kind of how it started. And with Silverback, we put about 25,000 miles on the bike in about just a little over a year.
Mhm.
And I just thought it was needed for a change. Plus, to have the same bike all the time. It's a YouTube channel, so you gotta
Right.
give the audience something. So just to keep that bike, just because some viewers like it, I understand that. I liked it too, but to keep views going, to keep the channel building, you have to keep evolving.
Right. Right.
So just like this bike, like, obviously I'm going to have it for a while. I'm going to put a lot of miles on it, definitely more than the last one. But I don't know exactly how long I'm going to have it. We'll see.
Right. Yeah. So now, as far as you're getting sponsors giving you all these parts for the bike, so did you have to reach out to them and just kind of try to get some help with that, or were they just reaching out to you?
I mean, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. But once you start growing your channel, once you start getting a lot of views, more views, then companies start reaching out.
Right. We have a comment here from Roadie Riders. He says, "What's your ETA to getting Mad Max back together?"
Brother, we should have it back hopefully by the end of the week, if not by the end of the week, beginning of next week. I should have the wheels back this week sometime. I'm not sure exactly when, but that's kind of the time frame. So it's going to be soon.
Yeah, I'm sure that anticipation's killing you. I know every time you have something off the bike, you're just waiting to throw something back on there.
Well, see, that's another reason why I need a second bike, because right now I'm actually at a point where I got nothing to I got nothing to record.
Right.
It's like the bike's ready. The bike's ready to be put back together. And I can't ride it. Obviously, I can't do a ride video. So having a second bike would be obviously ideal in this type of situation.
Right. Yeah. So maybe I'll show my wife this live stream, and that'll convince her to let me get a second bike.
That's right. Or listen, just take the wheels off your bike, and that's all.
Yeah. The wheels are off your bike again. Yeah, babe. I had a.
Yeah, I need a second bike. I need a second bike. I can't ride it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Moving on from there. So let's talk about here, in your opinion, what makes a performance bagger? Because I know everybody has their own opinions about it.
Okay. So my opinion. So I would say definitely suspension. Suspension at least minimum a stage 2 with an exhaust. I would say bars, but then again, it doesn't necessarily have to be, because that I don't feel that the bars really change. It may be more comfortable, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't change the performance of the bike.
Right.
If you know what I'm talking about. Like the suspension actually helps with the performance of the bike. The engine helps with the performance of the bike. Braking, obviously, if you do braking. Do you have to do brakes? I'm going to say no. I had a couple bad experiences doing big brake rotor kits and stuff, and just didn't work out well. But I would say engine bars, definitely suspension. Those are probably the 3 main things, and not to obviously load the bike up with excess stuff that'll make the weight, to really change the weight of the bike and how the bike the characteristics, of the ride quality. Because the more weight you put on the bike, the crappier it's going to handle,
Right. And you just recently lost, what was it, about 25 pounds off of yours with that lithium battery?
Yeah, I think it was 22 pounds with the lithium battery. Yeah, I got this. It's a lead acid right here, 26 pounds.
That's nuts.
It's really remarkable how light that I was like, if you go over to Holy Ship's channel, it's like spinning the battery on my finger. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we were at like 838, and so now we're at like, what is that, 838? So we're at like 812, something like that.
Yeah.
Where a stock road glide is coming in at about 855 wet. So that's quite a bit of weight difference,
Yeah, that's insane.
Almost 50 pounds. Like, think about it, 50-pound plate from the gym, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, Joe, I'm gonna butcher your last name.
What's up, Joe?
Sorry. He said spot on, John. Doug Longville says, go get that Suzuki Hayabusa.
It's either going to Doug. It's either going to be the Hayabusa or the BMW S1000RR. I don't know yet. One of them.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're gonna probably bring on a sports bike. So
yeah.
Do you plan on maybe doing the same stuff that you're doing with Mad Max, upgrading it and getting it a little bit quicker?
Quicker. I mean, do you really need to make a 210 horsepower bike faster? You know what I'm saying? That weighs 440 pounds. No. There's probably going to be obviously some minor upgrades, but it's more going to just be in a line of just doing the ride videos, doing some track days, That's if I get the S1000. If I go the Hayabusa route, that is a absolute monster in itself, but it's little bigger. It's better for those long trips. So I don't know yet. You guys are going to have to just wait and see, because I've been trying to figure this out for quite some time. So I want to make the right, I want to make the right decision. I want to make the right move. I was even thinking about getting like a 701 Supermoto by Husqvarna and doing some urban riding and showing people, like, instead of just going down a highway, doing some urban riding and showing people sites where nobody knows about, something like that. So I don't know yet, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like you got a lot to think about. And when you when you said, do you need to make
Yeah.
a 200 horsepower bike faster? I think that depends on who you're talking to.
Well, you know what? It's honestly, these sport bikes that are coming out of the factory, unless you're Rossi or Marquez, you're never going to push that bike to its absolute limit. You just don't have the skill.
Right.
You know what I mean? I definitely don't. And 99% of the riders out there do not. You know, you have to literally be a MotoGP rider to really push that bike to the limit. You know, just because you ride it on the highway and you hit the throttle a couple of times and you do some wheelies, that doesn't mean you're pushing that bike to its limit. And 200, whether it's 190 horsepower or 240 horsepower, once you get into that, you know, that area of horsepower to weight ratio, you know, you could get yourself into a lot of trouble really quick.
Yeah, no doubt. That's for sure. Hey, we got Robert in here. He made it.
Robert, what's up, buddy?
We'll see you soon, Robert.
Yeah, he just got a beautiful bike, beautiful breakout.
Oh man, I tell you what, that thing is beautiful. I absolutely love
it. Is.
The way that bike looks.
It's a gorgeous bike.
Okay.
Beautiful bike. He's got, listen, his whole stable's beautiful. Everything in his garage.
He's a lucky guy. His wife's letting him have all those bikes. I got to talk to Robert and see how I can get 3 more bikes into my garage.
3 more. Try one first, Joe.
Okay. All right. I'll try.
Yeah, but Rob, he busts his butt. You know, he does a lot on YouTube. He edits a lot, and you know, he's got good stuff on YouTube. I think he's whatever, you know, what he does is he's the best of the best.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, he teaches a lot of good stuff. I mean, just to keep you safe. And it's not rocket science he's teaching. It's just slow speed stuff to help you stay safe so you're not dropping your bike everywhere.
But it's difficult, but that's why you have to practice. And that's why he always says you got to practice. It's not easy. And that's why, you know, you see it all the time, you know, people that say, oh yeah, I've been riding for 30 years and they're duck walking.
Yeah.
or they got their outriggers out. I got to do quotes because these are all his terms.
Yeah. And I think they're all copyrighted too.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So let's move on into question number 6. We found out what your opinion was on a performance bagger. So when you're building these bikes, how do you ensure the reliability of them? Because a lot of people think, you know, you beefed up your engine, you did all this stuff to the bike, you're not going to be able to take it on a long trip.
Well, I've even learned a lot through these past couple of years, what works, what doesn't work. I had a 128. I had many stage 2s in bike, stage 3s. I had the 128 in Silverback, which that motor actually blew due to overheating. And then I had the T-Man Performance 130 in it. So I would have to say, if you're going with a big bore kit, definitely keep a mild camshaft in there. Don't overdo it with a camshaft, and don't overdo it with these high compression motors. They're going to put a lot of power out, but the higher the compression in the motor, the bigger lift cams that, you know, people are putting in. That's, I think, where they're getting into problem. But if you like the T-Man Performance motor, the 130 I had on Silverback, I think we put about 15,000 miles on that, and that thing ran like a top. No issues. And that thing was fast. That bike was fast. I think it had a 154 horsepower. But even that motor, we could have pushed it to 170 horsepower, just changing the camshaft.
Oh, wow.
And a different, you know, a slightly different tune on it. But, you know, then you're running higher lift, you know, a lot of stress on the valve train, on the valve springs. You know, and people don't really know this, but even like somebody like Sea Bear Stunts that does all of these stunts and banging the engine off the rev limiter 24/7 on his bike. It's only a 98 cubic inch HPI low compression motor. 98. It's not a 130. It's a 98. So, I'm sure probably all the people out there thinking, oh, he must have 170 horsepower. No, because he has the motor that's going to last him. It's a low compression motor, and you don't need all that horsepower to do what he does. Obviously, you could see.
Yeah.
So if you do a big bore kit, I would, like I said, I would just worry about the camshaft, not putting in too big of a camshaft. Whoever's building the motor, not to run too much compression. But then again, there's so many things. We could have a 10-hour conversation just about this, because the more people are putting 170 horsepower on a big bore kit on top, but keeping the bottom half stock. Well, you're just looking for problems, because that crank, that's not welded. Mine was a dark horse. The 130 I had on Silverback was a welded signature dark horse crankshaft, and that's also what these stunt guys are running. They're running a welded crankshaft, a welded and pinned crankshaft. So this way it doesn't move on. And that's why always, they're checking crank run out and stuff like that, because I think the limit is like only 12,000, so once you start passing or getting close to that 12,000, you really can't do anything to that motor, because any kind of more horsepower is really it's going to wipe your motor out. So, then it's the clutch. Right? Then it's the trans, then it's the belt. So where do you stop? So that's why I really focused, because I knew I wanted this bike to be super reliable. I wanted this bike to handle fantastically. I wanted it to be lighter, so it handled and braked and accelerated faster. Because if you don't add horsepower, what's the next best thing? Lighten it up, right?
Yeah. So basically, once you open that can of worms and you start beefing it up, you have to make sure
it's never ending.
Yeah.
It's you're down the rabbit hole. That's it. You took the blue pill and you're down that hole, and there's no end in sight until you do it all. Because if you don't, there's always a weak link. Like on Silverback, I did everything except the transmission, and believe it or not, the reason why I didn't change it, I just wanted to see how long it would last. And I didn't have any issues. And we did burnouts, we shifted hard, and I mean, I gave that tranny a pretty good beating, and it survived 25,000 miles.
Yeah.
With 156 foot-pounds of torque. So I would have to say the transmission, what I realize, is probably like one of the stronger points. The clutch is definitely the weakest point. And then the next thing, your belt is going to snap.
Yeah. Then
you definitely need a change right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I noticed is, like I said, the tranny was probably the last thing that anybody should worry about. So a lot of people say they blew their transmission. The transmission, a lot of times when people are riding hard, they miss third gear. Third gear blows on these trannies a lot. And that's, like I said, it's not because it can't withstand the power. It's because they're missing the gear. So what's happening is they go up to shift into third, and the gear's not fully engaged. They only partially engage, and they're very weak. So they shatter. Yeah. So that's why and then once that third blows and those metal pieces, they go everywhere. And if you ever pulled out a transmission, it's like if one piece of metal falls into that cog where there's a million gears in there, it's like a meat grinder.
Yeah. Jeez.
So that's how the transmissions go. But I've never had an issue with the transmission on Silverback. I never had a problem.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, I'm almost afraid to start beefing mine up, because I'm gonna have this bike for years. When the engine blows, I'm gonna get a new one. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, in my eyes. But this is something that you love doing. So, and you've been successful. All right. So now let's go on to the next question. So for somebody that's looking to turn their bike into a performance bagger, what's your number one tip as far as upgrading?
Probably the same thing. What I always say is, even if you aren't building a performance bagger, as soon as you take the bike off the showroom floor, and it comes into your hands, the first thing you should do is your suspension, because it's not only for safety, for ride quality, it improves the braking because the nose of the bike isn't diving hard. That I would say is the first thing. If you are doing a performance bagger, same thing, suspension, engine, bars. I had a lot of different style bars on different types of bikes, but for me now personally, having the Kraus setup, I think it's probably the most comfortable setup I ever had.
Okay, and you said those are T-bars?
Yeah, so it's a Kraus ODI bar, which is a 4-inch rise. And then I have the 8-inch Kraus kickback riser. But then again, I also have the Kraus triple tree, which eliminates that whole nacelle. So like now I don't have the ignition switch anymore. It's just the switch on top. So basically, as long as I have the key fob on me, it turns on almost like a CVO.
Okay. Now, is there an advantage of having those T-bars over just regular 12-inch meat hook bars?
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't. Okay, so like I used to have factory 47s on my bikes. Love the bars, fantastic. As far as for performance, not good. Slow speed maneuvering, not good, because the bars are really up high. They're really wide. So like when you're doing, and Rob will even tell you, when you're doing slow speed maneuvering, I'm sure Rob could still do it on that bike because of his knowledge and experience, but it's very difficult because you're really stretching. You know what I'm saying? When you're turning at slow speed. So I don't like that personally. With this setup, and I have to say the LA Chopper Hammerhead bars were really good as well, because they're not far apart. And they're kind of closer to you. It's not, you're not really hanging over and stretching. So you do have to be in a comfortable position, to operate the bike properly. It can't be awkward. Just like for me, stock bars, and Rob will tell you the same thing. We hate stock bars because, especially like me, I'm 6'2", Rob's a little taller than me, tall guys. And when we turn the handlebars, it's like up in my chest. I feel like I'm, like this, holding the bars. Like it's the most uncomfortable thing, but that's because we're taller. It might not be the same for a shorter rider. So it all depends. You have to be absolutely the most comfortable on the bike.
Right. Yeah. I'm 5'9", and I think the handlebars was one of the first things that I changed, because instead of being in my chest, they're kind of bumping up against my leg, and it's just very uncomfortable, especially on long rides.
Right. So like if you see a lot of bikes with 16s or 18s and they're pulled forward and you're hunched forward, it looks great. Don't get me wrong. I love that look, but it's not for me. It's not my style. I like the performance aspect of it, because you're not flipping a bike back and forth with big 18s on it, 16s and pushed forward. You're not going to handle the bike the same as with these bars or a set of LA Choppers bars. It's just not going to happen. You have a lot of leverage, down low like that,
Right.
And
yeah.
The maneuverability is fantastic.
Karen says, just leave it alone. I think she's referring to upgrading the bike. Scott Lynn says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Words to live by. Yeah, it's hard to live by sometimes, though. You always get that itch to do something else. Big Rob says, John is right. With that being said, I have factory 47s on all my bikes.
Yeah, but see, he does, and they look great. But I'm sure, I don't know, what size are your bars, Rob? 12-inch?
I know, I think one of his bikes, or maybe two of his bikes, I know his Street Glide, I believe those are 10-inch, and then he put 12 on a couple of the other ones. We'll see if he answers.
Yeah.
Karen says, my husband had 95,000 on his 04 Ultra before it needed major work. He replaced his 88 cubic inch with a 95. It was less expensive. Go figure. Oh, man.
Yeah, the twin cam motors, you basically have to pay double to get the same amount. You can't even get the same amount of power. It's really hard to, but the cost is like almost double to get nearly the same amount of power as an M8.
Right. Big Rob says, 12-inch and 10-inch on the Street Glide.
Yeah, so that, you see what I'm saying? So with 10s and 12s, you could still manage. But like I said before, like people are putting 16s and 18s on or bigger. That just, it doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. All right. So now let's go ahead and move.
Hey, whoever's watching, show Joe some love. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.
Yes, please. It'd be great. We got about 40 people in here, so you get 40 likes, that'd be amazing. So we'll move into question number 8. What's your favorite aspect of the motorcycling community?
Favorite aspect. I guess it's definitely the camaraderie. Just when you go to a bike rally or you go to a bikes and breakfast, or even if it's just a Sunday ride with the fellas, it's a bond. You know what I mean? It's a bond, which you can't. It's hard to describe. But if you were a part of it, you know exactly what it is, right?
Right.
So I would say it has to be the camaraderie.
Yeah. Except for a few bad apples, because there's always that guy or gal where
Well, that's why you gotta stay away from them.
you always have that person that's all Harley that doesn't want to talk to anybody or give the peace sign to a sport bike rider. And I mean, two wheels is two wheels.
It happens. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite part as well, as the camaraderie. I mean, you can walk up to somebody that owns a bike, spark up a conversation. It's like you've known them for years.
Absolutely.
Andre Go. It's my older cousin. He says brotherhood. Papa D rides. He's here. He says motorcycles bring folks together. Absolutely correct.
Right.
And
then other than obviously the camaraderie, it's I think it's not only I love it, but it's a place where you could just let go and forget about everything. That's what it really does for me. Yeah, that's what it does for me. It's like if you got some worries, some stress, anything, you get on that bike, you hammer a couple 100 miles, and it's like everything's gone. It just washes away.
Yeah. You know what they say, you never see a motorcycle outside of a psychiatrist's office.
Right.
Ryan Wrenching's asking, what do you think of the 2023 colors?
Not for me. The one I do like is, I guess it's the billiard blue with the gray.
Yeah.
That one I really like. But the other ones, it's just not my style, like the yellow and the black and the orange. It's just not me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm more of a classy old style colored guy, you know what I mean? But the billiard blue with the gray looks really good. I seen that on a street glide on the limited. It looked awesome. And on a road glide,
Yeah, it's definitely a sharp color.
But as far as the bright colors, not necessarily.
Yeah, that orange kind of set me back a little bit. Actually, the black and yellow set me back the most, because that is very strange looking.
Yeah, I seen it in person. I mean, listen, they're all nice, right? The new bike, they're all nice, but it's not a color I would choose.
Right, exactly. Somebody out there likes them, so they're going to end up selling them.
Right.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. Scott says, I had a blue bike for 20 years, tired of the blue color. I guess 20 years will do that to you there, Scott. So
that's a long time to have a bike.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move into the last question, then might have a couple minutes to open it up to Q&A for a second. So I like to ask this question because everybody has a different story. Tell us the worst experience you've had on a motorcycle.
I was thinking about that, and I didn't have, as far as I should say, like I never dropped a bike, thank God, knock on wood. I never dropped a bike. I never got into an accident, thank God. Probably, I have to say, probably like the worst experience I've had on the bike were when I did the saddle sore and the bun burner. That's the most dreadful thing I've felt on a bike. Okay. Because of the trying to, and I'm only saying with my experience, like when I left this time last year, I left Daytona. I was supposed to take the train back because we took the auto train down. But what happened was there was a major snowstorm coming through New Jersey. So if I took the train, we'd be stuck like in Virginia. That's what happened to my buddies because I left by myself. So they were actually stuck. Sandy and the other guys were stuck, I think, overnight or 2 nights. I forgot. But I left, I think, late morning, and I just went like straight home. I did like 1,200 miles, I don't know, in 23 hours. And it was like through the Virginia mountains, like 30 degrees. Came to the hotel. I was like shivering shivering. Raining, I rode through probably about 12 hours of rain, straight torrential pouring rain. And then when I did the bun burn up into New York State, same thing. It was like warm, but then I got caught up into the Adirondack Mountains by myself, like 4 hours, no phone service, no nothing, just following the last known coordinates on the phone, really not knowing where I was going. And then temperatures dropped into the low 30s again. I wasn't prepared for it. Same thing, got to the hotel shivering. So I think those are probably like some of the worst experiences on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I actually remember you doing that when you took the train out there and you left early. Man, that was a long trip for you and unplanned, but it seemed like you had a lot of the right gear. And I'm actually planning on my first iron, but if the weather holds, because I'm out here in Ohio, leaving my house from Ohio, riding all the way down to Daytona, try to get a 1,000-mile ride in on there. So that ought to be interesting.
Oh, you're gonna do that in March?
Yeah, as long as there's no like big winter storms predicted. I don't care about a little bit of snow, but Ohio, you never know. It's just like out there with you. I mean, you never know what the weather's going to do.
Right. And it's tough in the winter months to do it because the days are short.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and plus I got caught in rain. So I had to actually, I went to the hotel and I only had about 3-4 hours of sleep. And then you have to get up because you got to do 1,000 miles in 24 hours.
Right.
And the bun burner's even more difficult because you got to do 1,500 in 36 hours. Even though it seems, you have more time. It's difficult. That's a lot of miles within 36 hours. You're halfway, think about riding from New York halfway across the country in 36 hours. I mean, it's, people have done it even in, I believe, 30 hours. But again, I just, you got to be probably in your 20s to do that.
Right. Yeah. That's a long way. So what would be your number one tip for me for doing just the 1,000-mile trip?
I have more than a number one tip. I have a lot of tips. You can't just have a number one tip. I would definitely, obviously, make sure you go over your bike and make sure that your bike is on the up and up, right? Everything's ready to go. Second thing is you have to have cold weather gear. You got to have heated gear because you won't make it. You got to have rain gear. You got to make sure you have the proper boots because if your feet are cold, you're done. If your toes start freezing, you're done, right? What else? Definitely have some good, healthy snacks. Bring a thermos with some coffee. So this way you don't waste time at the rest stops. And this way you have your own snacks and your own coffee. And because, how many times I pulled into a gas station and you're looking at that mud that they try to sell at the station. And the worst thing is, especially when you're tired and you're just cranky and you're not happy. The worst thing is having a bad cup of coffee, Yeah. So bring a thermos, fill it up with your own coffee from home. So you have that. Music, good music. Make yourself a nice playlist. Have a good helmet. Make sure you got to have a full face on. I wouldn't recommend going with a half shell because if you have a loud exhaust, So have a full face, get some good music, nice playlist. You know what I mean? So this way, you got a whole bunch of good music to listen to on the way. Make sure you leave early in the morning, like even before the sun comes up. That's one thing I would say. Make sure you eat before you leave. I mean, there's a lot. There's quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been doing.
That's kind of the things that
I've been doing a lot of research. I got the new helmet, the carbon fiber helmet. I mean, I got the Indy Ridge boots, the same kind that you like to wear. So I gave them a shot. Just got used rain gear off of eBay today. So Harley Davidson rain gear. So I'm getting prepared.
Yeah, you definitely have to have the rain gear. Even on your windshield, hit it with some Rain-X. Hit the visor with some Rain-X.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Don't forget the coffee. The coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it rains, you don't want your visor because that's what happens. The water stays on it, and if you can't see that's you're gonna start slowing down, and you're gonna start running into time time problems.
Right. Now, also say make sure you have a pin lock in the visor so that way you don't fog up.
Yeah, and if you still listen, I always have pin locks. You still fog up sometimes. So all you
Yeah.
do is you just crack the visor a little tiny bit. Just one click up.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing that ride. I really hope I can just do it and the weather cooperates because that's going about
When are you
700
go?
miles.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
You go. When are you going to do this? When are you going to be down there?
I'm gonna leave March 9th. So
Hmm.
I'll probably leave around like 2 in the morning because I don't want to get to the Daytona super late. We renting a house out there, so I want to get out there probably when the sun's still up.
So that's 700 something miles.
No. So the from my house to Daytona, it's like 995 miles. So I got to make that route a little bit
Oh, okay.
longer. So
Or just go around the block a couple times.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I've been doing a lot of research. I know you have. I'm gonna go back and watch a couple of your videos when you went and did those bun burners. All right, guys. So we did all the questions. So we will go ahead and open up for Q&A. I'll go ahead and scroll through the chat a little bit, see if I missed anything. Here's a question. Too Slow Moto says, your thoughts on the RDRS? I'm not 100% sure what that is.
yeah, that's the traction control for the Harley Davidsons.
Okay.
I never liked it on my bikes because in the past, what happened was the tuners, they were having a problem tuning the bikes with the RDRS. But I think they figured that out now. But I don't like traction control on my bike. Bike has to have ABS, but as far as the traction control, I don't want to pay the extra money for traction control.
Right. Yeah. My bike's a stock 17 Street Glide that I've done a bunch of stuff to it. I don't even have traction control or ABS brakes.
Right.
Papa D Rise, be sure to make it at least 1,040 miles to ensure you actually go 1,000 for the IBA.
Yeah. So you also, like, obviously when you make sure like you go to a gas station as soon as you leave your house, get the receipt. Even if your bike only takes a half a gallon, but you'll have the receipt from the time you left. And then every stop, make sure you get your receipts. And then when you get down to Daytona and you pass your 1,000 miles, make sure you go to a gas station again. No matter, even if your bike is full, just put a drop in there and get the receipt.
Right. Yeah. I've been looking into that. And I know you have to be very precise on all your receipts. And I know there's apps where you can, like Spotwalla or something, you can send your route in, something like that. Okay. So Austin Bank asks, what's the best overall cam for a 2021 Street Glide?
I love the SNS 475. That cam is fantastic. If you guys never checked out my channel, check it out. You could see all the videos and listen to how this bike sounds. The 475 is an amazing cam for the 107, 114, and 117. And then the number, I wouldn't even say number two. Another great cam is the Star 3030. That's a great cam. That's got a higher lift. I believe it's a 485 and probably puts out a little more power and torque, but they're both fantastic cams.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing research on cams because I'll be honest, a lot of this stuff performance wise, I haven't really learned it just yet. I know getting the basics down. So I know the cam will make it sound nicer, give it a little more power.
Well, it gives it like 40 more horsepower from a stock motor.
Okay.
It's almost 50%.
Yeah, and I heard adding a cam to the M8 is huge. Mike W checking in, guys. He owns Pro Rider Columbus. I took his course last year. It was great. Checking in, guys. RDRS, I can feel it working when I'm slow riding. Really?
And that's why I don't like it, because it's intrusive. You know what I mean? So depending, like, because it's not really a super sophisticated system. Like, let's say it's on like a sport bike with a 6-axis IMU and it's really advanced. So I don't want nothing intruding my actions, whether it's throttle, clutch, whatever, on the bike, because that's how that works, is it starts killing power to the engine. And that's why I just don't want it on a bike.
Yeah. Here's a biker says, love your channel, John, especially when Sandy makes an appearance. Love how you two joke around. Good times with friends and bikes, what it's all about. It's also, I saw that that video where he came in your garage and said everything's for sale there.
Yeah. For some of you that might not know, Sandy's son and my son, they've been playing soccer together ever since they were 5 years old, and now they're 19. So we known each other a long time. Kids are great friends. And
Yeah, that's awesome. And so
yeah.
Debro says, "Hey John, you going to Laconia this year?"
Hell yeah. Listen, Laconia, it has to be. I'm going to say this. Laconia is probably my favorite rally. And it's not only because it's Laconia, but it's not really because of the rally. I mean, Sturgis it's a juggernaut of rallies,
Right.
But Laconia, the riding around Laconia, northern New York State, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, into Maine. Wow. It's amazing. Yeah. So you should come this year. I'll definitely, I'm definitely going to be there because it's the 100th anniversary as well. So,
Okay.
and I'm probably going to go into, I might do Americade, go right over like I did last year, because that was an amazing ride going east from Americade from Lake George over to Laconia through Vermont. That was just amazing. I forgot what route we took. But then when we were in Laconia, we went north into Maine, up into almost Canada. And the sights were just breathtaking. So what I plan on doing, I hope, we'll see, but what I would love to do is to kind of do that again, but wrap around almost the northernmost perimeter of Maine, around the border of Canada, come down and by the East Coast and go into Acadia National Park and come back down that way. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be a good trip. This is my second year in a row going to Daytona. This will probably be the last time because I'm just now getting into going to all these different places. There's so much to see, and I can't just keep on going back to Daytona every year,
That's exactly how I am. I mean, I'm doing back-to-back Daytonas, but probably after this one, I won't be, because I usually do things once. I've been there, done that, and I love to go visit new places and do new things. I don't want to just stay at one rally for the rest of my life. I want to, there's much to see in this beautiful country. So, then there's like the Ozarks and, the one down in Arkansas. What is it? Bikes, Beards and Blues or something like that.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I mean, we did Sturgis last year, so I'm not going to do that again this year, because that's a trip and a half.
Yeah.
we did almost 6,000 miles.
Man, you rode all the way there?
Yeah, there and back. Yeah, but we didn't ride straight to Sturgis. We went straight west through Kansas, through Nebraska into Colorado, and then went north from Colorado. So it was amazing time. But the next big trip, I want to do cross country all the way to California, probably to LA. And then from LA, it's probably going to be next year. But we'll see. Maybe at the end of the year, I don't know. But California, and then take Atlantic Coast Highway through the Redwoods and into Oregon and into Washington, because a lot of people tell me that's absolutely amazing. And then maybe, come back down and go through some national parks. So I got so much I want to do. There's just not enough time.
No, I'm the same exact way, man. There is a lot out there. Karen asks, will Rain-X damage your windscreen and helmet visor? No, it made for that.
No, I put it on because, like I said, a couple times years ago, riding, and I ride in rain, it doesn't matter. Once the water droplets start beating on your helmet, visibility is horrible. It's really dangerous. So if you just put a light coat of Rain-X on it, it helps out drastically. Like, it's night and day. The water just beads right off your windscreen.
Right. The detail spray that I use is made by Wizards Spray and Mist. I actually use that on my visor, and it pretty much acts like Rain-X. The water will just bead right off with it.
Right.
See if we got any more in here. Scott says Sandy needs to stock up on his Harley shirts from Israel.
Email him.
Yeah. My dad says speed kills. Well, it does.
Well, believe it, that's your pops.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I know the majority of accidents, believe it or not, the majority of accidents that I either know personally about, or hear about, aren't on the highways. They're actually at slower speeds, around town, very near to your house. And that's when they happen, on the highway. It happens, but it's not like, it happens definitely way more often around town. You got to be really cautious. The intersections are really, the top killer.
Yep.
People pulling out on you.
Yep. You gotta look left, right, and then left and right again. Scott says highest percentage of accidents are about a few miles from where you live. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And then Rob said most accidents on a motorcycle happen at slow speeds. Yes, sir.
That I was just gonna say that because literally in the past like 6 months, I've heard of probably, I want to say 5 people that broke their leg or their ankle. And when I come to find out where it happened or when it happened, they were literally standing stationary on the bike or either starting to pull away because they don't know how to operate their bike at slow speed.
Yep.
No joke.
Extremely important.
That's why Rob teaches it all the time. The minute you let go of that clutch, your legs should be on the floorboard.
Yep.
These people, you could see it at a rally. Oh my God. It's a sea of them. They got their outriggers out.
Yep. Yep.
They got their feet out and they're literally riding 20 miles an hour. They got their feet still out, or, or they're shuffling their feet on the bike when it's moving. That's dangerous.
Right. All right. Scott Lynn, this might be towards me. Have you been to Ohio Bike Week, or have you been to Ohio Bike Week?
I have not. No.
Yeah. I've been there. I pretty much go there every year. I only go up to they have a dealership in Sandusky. Me and my cousin and a few of his buddies usually go up there. My parents sometimes. I mean, it's cool to see. I guess they have like a big party and stuff downtown Sandusky, but that's not really my scene, partying while we're out there.
Right. And that's like the thing. Like when I go to rallies, I do my meet and greets, and basically I go ride. I don't, because I don't drink. So I ride, I do my thing and then, I ride. But a lot of people obviously, go to party, and that's fine. That's not what I'm into. I like going to see all the motorcycles, and I like the camaraderie of it for a day or two and do my meet and greets and stuff like that. But then I'm out. I'm gone. I'm riding.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. My cousin says Ohio Bike Week's been lame since COVID, which he's not wrong. It gets smaller every year. All right. So, John, I want to thank you for coming on. So before you go, why don't you let everybody how they can contact you, all your social medias and whatnot?
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's all Cycle Fanatix. Thank you so much, Joe, for having me on here. Appreciate it, brother. And see you in Georgia, maybe in Daytona.
Yeah, and maybe I'll bring my buddy Chuck with me. Everybody knows who Chuck is.
There you go.
Really looking forward to it.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, John.